main conversation today regarding the future of the country is the question of Sharia panels or Sharia courts in the southern part of the country, especially in the southwest. Now, recently, this has become a controversial issue, and we consider that it is quite sensitive. But it's important to discuss it. And so to join me in that conversation today, I have to my far right, I have Barrister Adam Oloriaje. Barrister Adam Oloriaje was the former Secretary General of the Muslim Lawyers Association and also former chairman of the chapter in Abuja. Barrister, you are welcome to this. It's a pleasure to be here. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. Also joining us here in the studio, we have Dr. David Okoro, who is a security and governance strategist and expert. Dr. Okoro, welcome to Inside Sources.
Thank you.
All right, good. And joining us virtually, we have Dr. Fela Ojo, who is a newspaper columnist. Dr. Fela Ojo, welcome to Inside Sources.
Thank you very much, sir. Thank you very much.
Okay, good. So let's start with Barrister.
Yes.
Make the case for us, why it is important to have Sharia courts or Sharia panels in the southwest. Many people assume that Sharia is for the north, and we have seen a bit of tension since the idea came up. Can you just, make a case so that we can understand exactly what the point is?
Thank you, my brother. The case is this: Sharia. When you hear Sharia, is not for the north.
Okay.
Sharia is for Muslims. Yeah. Is to guide our lifestyle. It is the purpose of our existence. A Muslim cannot probably exist fully without compliance with the tenets, injunction, and commands of his religion. That is it. The issue at stake now is not about even having Sharia court in the southwest. It's about the idea of bringing up what we call Sharia arbitration panel in the southwest, which has been in existence. You see, people are just making us about it now. Sharia arbitration panel has been in existence in Lagos State, practicing in Lagos State in the last 22 years. We started practicing Sharia arbitration panel in Lagos. In fact, as I'm talking to you, weekends Sharia arbitration panel sits in Lagos to resolve issues, disputes that has to do with personal status, anything that has to do with personal law. You see, that is what we take care in Sharia arbitration panel. It is not something that is that you are compelled to submit to. You have autonomy, you have consent. That is what we call tahkim under Sharia arbitration. You are not compelled to submit to arbitration.
Even when you are a Muslim.
When you are a Muslim.
You are not compelled.
You are not compelled. It's like the same thing that happens when you are entering into an agreement and you have what we call arbitration clause. That is what we practice there. And it has been very, very productive. In fact, the last 22 years in Lagos, they have resolved issues that have not been resolved for over 30 years.
And is resolving the arbitration panel.
Including the arbitration panel in Lagos. You see, Muslims, the major problems we have on this noise, cacophony about Sharia arbitration panel is either out of stark ignorance. I'm sorry to use the word. People don't even know what the concept is all about.
Yeah, even more the perception
or out of intolerance. Because some people, immediately hear anything Sharia, what comes to their brain is you want to compare people, you want to convert people to another religion, you want to cause chaos. No.
So it's not jihad.
He's not. You see, maybe the name or the word Sharia in front of arbitration panel. There are other practices of Islamic concepts that we are going into these days because they are not called Islamic.
People can accept it.
People can accept it and access it. You can see what is happening in commercial banks now. You can see people are now gradually leaving conventional banks to non-interest banking practices. You'll be surprised to know that we have over 40% customers in Jais, Taj Bank, who are Christians. In fact, the first depositor into Jai's, I was told, when Jai started, was a Catholic.
Interesting.
And he was not a Catholic.
Well, because it's interest-free.
Because it's interest-free.
Because
they are not calling it Islamic, people take it easily.
Embrace it. Okay.
And people are embracing it.
All right. I mean, good for our opening.
And the other part of it, is which I will call diversionary.
Right.
Because most of our governors in the Southwest, some of them are not doing what is expected of them. There is maybe that will be an argument for another time.
But make the point how.
The leadership, the practice, even the giving people dividend of democracy, they find it difficult to do. Some of them. But they look at this style as a way to divert people's attention from what is expected of them as government.
No, so I wanted you to connect that to the issue on ground, the issue of Sharia. What did you say?
Thank you. There is this policy you witness when people are interested in taking the attention away from the material thing expected of government in governance. And going to frivolities that does not, I call it frivolities because it does not concern anybody. It is constitutional.
I see your point.
It is legal. So we are saying that permissible.
The fact that we are debating it now is out of an attempt to cause.
Out of an attempt to just to call
before we go to Dr. Okoro.
Yes, sir.
I wanted to ask you. So you said that this has been taking place, has been going on for about 22 years in Lagos.
Yes,
since
2002 in Lagos.
It's new to me, Yes, and that's quite interesting. Now, the Muslims in the other parts of Southwest, how have they been managing? In sorting out, what the arbitration panel ought to be sorting if it happens. What options have you guys been?
That is the problem we're having. I will give you an instance. A marriage conducted under Islamic law in the mosque by Muslims. If that marriage has issue,
right,
we have Islam has provided every regulation for our lifestyle. From the way we eat, what we eat, the marriage, even the way you sleep, the way you transact businesses. That's why what you see under some of these our non-interest banking commercial practices now,
right,
that you do. Islam has given regulation to everything as Muslims. Now, take the marriage for example. You marry under Islamic law.
Right.
Your marriage has issue. There is no Islamic structure or panel to regulate crisis in your marriage. So you submit to customary court. Customary court, which may even be headed by a non-Muslim, which may even be headed by somebody who does not even have any religion.
Okay.
You will now sit down there and say, carry the children, give that woman the children. Whereas Islam has what we call adana, guardianship, maintenance of children, maintenance of marriage, everything is regulated under Islam.
Okay.
But when you have small issue like this, it is somebody who does not even know anything about Islam that will not be resolving it.
Okay.
Those are part of the issues we are considering under Sharia arbitration panel. If the problem is the Sharia, we call you. Maybe we can spend it also that they allow us to breathe.
Oh, thank you so much for this opening comment, and I think you already set the stage. I'm just going to bring it now to Dr. David Okoro. How do you respond to this issue? You are a security and governance, strategist. What's your take? Especially with the explanation that Barrister Oluwade has given.
Well, again, thank you for having me. You asked the right question. We know that the Yoruba nation has a long history.
Yeah.
And over this long period of time, Muslims and Christians and other religions have lived together in states other than Lagos.
Yeah.
How did they cope? How were they able to manage marriage issues, inheritance issues, land issues? And so if they have handled this well, why suddenly this talk about this Sultan speaks, this one speaks, and now we are saying we must have the Sharia, whether courts, whether committees, whether councils in the Southwest. And I think that for me, there is no firm legal grounds. There are arguments as to whether these councils have been set up and all that, whether they are legal or they are not legal. Nobody have been able to come up with a policy, for instance, from the Supreme Court saying that we should practice this. This should be the line to follow. And by the way, when you talk about the customary system is an aggregation of various beliefs. Is the custom of the people. The court we are talking about,
right.
it reflects the custom of the people, the way of life of the people. It reflects the lifestyle of the people. That is the system that have been practiced over time. And if it has not worked, why have we had so much peace in Southwest? I mean, if you look at Southwest, it's one of the fairly stable part of Nigeria. It's progressive because of the stability. There is unity because what this whole talk is going to do in the Southwest, it's going to bring division, it's going to bring suspicion, it's going to be fear. Now I grew up in Ibadan. By the way, I went to secondary school and university in Southwest, so I know the system. So having a family, you have a pastor, you have an imam, you have an alpha,
in the same family.
In the same family.
Okay.
When you introduce Sharia in the northern, by the way, it's not factually right to say the whole northern region is under Sharia.
No, just 12 states.
So we must understand that Christians have bear the burden of the implementation of Sharia
in those 12 states.
Because when it was being implemented in those states, Christians accepted it, right?
Okay.
When in Kaduna State, the former governor decided that he will have a Muslim ticket, Christians bought it. They accepted it as a sacrifice. When the president, this current government, decided they were going to do a Muslim ticket, Christians bought the burden. They
accepted it.
When they passed under Sanusi, Nigeria decided to implement the financial services system.
That's a former central bank government.
Yeah, that brought in the Sharia banking. Right. There was a substitution, but Christians again sacrificed and accepted it.
Okay.
In our iteration, in our diplomacy, we have it's a large chunk of our diplomacy is Islamic. You have the D8, Development Aid. Many people don't know. It's an association that is only Islamic.
Well, those who happen to be in D8 are
Muslim, Iraq.
But I don't think it is intended to be an Islamic organization. But I see your point. And the members are.
So I'm not talking about the fact that the Christians have sacrificed.
Awesome.
But the question now is, why are we saying now that we want to upturn the system that have worked well? Because if it's not broken,
why do you fix it? All right, very good. Barrister, I'm coming back to you, because let's take it to. Okay, let's take it to Dr. Folaide, a newspaper columnist who is joining us virtually from the US. Dr. Ojo, what's your take? You are following us. What's your take?
Yeah, thank you very much, Prof. I'm really surprised that in 2025, when nations around the world are growing, when they are empowering their people, when education has been made available, healthcare has been made available, and all this, we are still talking about religion in Nigeria 2025. Now, if you want to look at the origin of this stuff, there's a Supreme Sharia Council, Sharia Council in Nigeria that actually started this. Yeah. So, and now this mother group was incorporated in just 2005, thereabout. And it's just a group of like minds, people who believe, who serve the same God, who believe, have the same belief and all of that. And they came together. There's nothing wrong with that. Now, the chapter in Oyo State flagged off this problem. And simple communication, all right? Just like one of my brothers said, that there's a Sharia panel in Lagos State, and it's been in existence since 2002. Understandable. But what I'm saying is, when these people in Oyo State started this stuff, they miscommunicated. They call it Independent Sharia Court. Independence Sharia Court. I was in Nigeria in December. And when I heard that thing, the first thing that I did was just to investigate who established this Sharia court in the Southwest. Because by law, if you look at section 275 to 279 of the Constitution of Nigeria, you'll see that only state assemblies and National Assembly can establish courts. So when we heard court, it was a red flag of resistance and pushback right away. It's not that we're ignorant. We're not ignorant. We're just concerned. Because just like one of my brothers said, the Southwest has been in peaceful coexistence for years. We have Muslims in our families. My uncle is a Muslim. I married a Muslim woman who converted on her own. I have Muslim in-laws who are very, very close to me. So it's just trying to disrupt the status quo of tranquility that the Southwest has always had. So we understand all of this. So that really brought a red flag that no, we're not going to allow this, because I am very, very sure there are some people who we don't know. They are faceless. They probably have some political or religious, or undertone behind all of this. So I think the word court raised the red flag. And that's why we're talking about this today.
Okay. All right. Thank you for your opening comments. I have to take it back to Barrister Oloriaje, who is also incidentally a lawyer. And, Bess, I want to give you ample time, to respond, and, just to what you've heard, both from Dr. Okoro and Dr. Ojo.
There is no status quo concerning the issue of arbitration. The status quo we have been experiencing, as I've said earlier, is what is the tolerance of the Muslim community, not to have been allowed to practice their religion. I will go back to my brother Okoro, Dr. Okoro. When it comes to the issue of who has been bearing the brunt or whatever, that may not be the purpose of this sitting, because it will take us away actually from the information we want to pass across here.
Okay.
Mr. Akade can invite us another time for that. I will tell you that it is what you know that you are talking about. If it is Southwest, are you getting me? If it's Southwest, it has been Muslims. That is by the way. And there is nothing new in this idea. The way it is presented may not be the proper place, because I've never had the opportunity of joining them in or watching that particular presentation.
Okay.
But what I know, as far as Sharia arbitration panel is concerned, sir,
right,
it is not changing any status quo. It does not affect anybody. It does not affect any Muslims who is not submitting to it. It does not even affect what is not affecting a Muslim that is not submitting to it. How will it affect a Christian? It's not changing anything. Rather, it's giving us structure. For example, as Muslims, if you are applying to any embassy in Nigeria today, as a Muslim, to get it for a visa, they will not accept this our normal mosque certificate we present.
That to determine that you are
married, that we married as Muslims.
Oh, okay.
They won't accept it.
Why?
They won't accept it. They say they don't recognize it. That is not married under the Act.
The Islamic Act.
Yes, it's not married under the Act, under Marriage Act.
Oh, okay.
Are you getting? Okay, so are you saying so now?
I please hold your thought.
Yes, sir.
Is it that Muslims can't currently marry under the Act now?
They can. If you marry under Nigerian Act, Marriage Act in Nigeria,
yes,
you have subscribed to an idea of one man, one wife.
Okay. Oh, yeah.
The marriage the Act says, which is what the Act says. As Muslims now, you cannot present, for example, this normal certificate they give in the mosque just to recognize that you people are married. But with the advent of the Sharia arbitration panel in Lagos, They are now developing something that looks like a certificate signed, present to embassies. Embassies are now recognizing us. They are now saying, okay, you people are married. Okay, we recognize it. So now if you want to take maybe 2 or 3 of your wives abroad, you recognize that. They recognize how you married to them. To tell you, it's as if those are the little benefits we get from it. I know of a family that has been in dispute on the inheritance of their father for the last almost 25, 27 years.
And the reason why it's still a dispute is because
they are Muslims and they want the provision of Islam to govern their inheritance.
Interesting.
You get it? They cannot go to, you can't go to customary court, you can't go and meet somebody who is not even a Christian, who is a traditionalist, to be dividing your distance and say, Igigi, another Igigi, until you appreciate the fact that even if it is 30th century, not even 20th century, let it be another millennium. As long as we are Muslims, we are governed by the law of our faith, which is constitutionally guaranteed by the Nigerian Constitution. Section 38 said it. It said you can manifest your religion, you can show your religion, you can practice your religion. Funny enough, Governor Abiodun is also fighting that Sharia arbitration panel should not be allowed in the state. When Owu people inaugurated arbitration panel in January 2024 to govern civil relationship between Owu indigenes and their neighbors, it inaugurated. It has a framework. It's working. You see, we have other faith-based arbitration panels in Nigeria. Catholics, in Enugu, they have faith-based arbitration panels. Structured that is just settle on their whole Catholic religion to settle disputes, civil disputes among themselves. In fact, they give recommendation. They will submit their recommendation to the bishop to take care of, these things are in Nigeria and they are empowered to implement it. They are empowered to implement it under the law. Under the law, they implement. They implement civil matters, even commercial matters between them. They do it. They do it. It's like that. Maybe the problem there is maybe out of ignorance also for those people who announced it. They raise it as a court. It doesn't take the power of court
to do that.
It doesn't have the effect of the court in the understanding of court in Nigeria. No.
But there's something I want you to address, Barrister, and then we come to Doctor.
Yes, sir.
So both Dr. Okoro and Dr. Ojo, they've raised an important point that I want you to address.
Yes, sir.
They said there will be suspicion. That will create fear.
There is no fear.
Please address that.
There is no fear.
And suspicion.
There is no suspicion. Except if we generate that suspicion on our own. I've given you an instance now. Sharia arbitration panel in Lagos has been in existence since 2002. Has it generated any suspicion? As I'm talking now, I can put a call across to member of the panel in Lagos. They are sitting as I'm talking in Lagos.
Because they sit at weekends.
They sit on weekends. Sometimes they sit during the week, towards evening on Wednesdays. They are settling matters, disputes. In fact, they are executing some of their disputes. Except for some AD party that will say, no, I will not allow that. I will not agree. Within Muslims.
Yeah, exactly.
Within Muslims, the autonomy is there and the consent is there. Even as a Muslim, if you say you are not submitting to it, nobody can take you there. The issue of suspicion is not even there at all.
Yeah.
It's not. There is nothing like suspicion or they will now create problem, they will be killing people. No. Okay, so before it is just for commercial practices and of personal laws
that people agreed.
Agreed.
Now, but
submit to.
Before we come to Dr. David, people see Lagos as basically a mini Nigeria.
Cosmopolitan.
When you go further north to Oyo and Osho, it becomes more and more traditional. People are not as cosmopolitan. Even in Ibadan, it's a little bit more. But when you go to Ibadan, you go to Ekiti, you go to Ondo, you go to Akure, do you think that the people in those states, in fact, I'm not good, but they call them Hawaii, they are much less cosmopolitan. Don't you think that might accentuate and that might be another factor to raise the fear and the suspicion?
There is no fear. It cannot raise any fear. I will give you an instance. There is a center they call the Justice, Development and Peace Movement of Catholic Diocese of Oyo State.
Okay.
They are offering structured arbitration, the way the Sharia panel in Lagos are doing it.
Okay.
The Catholics.
Okay.
In Oyo State. And it does not concern anybody except you submit to it. But mind you, one of the key features of arbitration,
right,
is what? Is this autonomy and consent. Autonomy of the parties.
Of the parties.
Who are submitting to it.
That the parties, they submit freely.
Yes, they don't want to. They don't want to. You cannot compel them. You cannot compel them.
Okay.
You see? I'll give you an instance. See, part of the reasons why it will not bring any issue,
right,
why it is long overdue. Even Christians are now submitting to non-interest banking practices.
Like in jazz and...
Like all these other Mudaraba, all these concepts under Islamic banking. They submit to it. And part of the contract is there is a clause for arbitration in case there is any issue. That kind of arbitration, will you take it to customary court? Customary arbitrator. Will you take it to what do you call it? To all these conventional arbitrators? No, you take it to arbitrators who are knowledgeable in the field.
Right.
Who are knowledgeable in the field. It is for everybody, because if they are practicing non-interest banking system, that you will need everything that has to do with that concept to protect yourself.
Right.
You submit to this kind of arbitration now. Okay. Is that bringing? It's not bringing any noise. I will tell you, so many non-Muslims have signed agreements with non-interest banking banks in Nigeria that has this concept of Sharia arbitration panel. Okay. They have Sharia council. Okay. Banking council, and they are doing well. Have you heard of any noise? Have you heard of any crisis there? Have you heard of any war? Yeah. There won't be.
Okay. All right. Thank you so much. Let's take it to Dr. David Okoro. Now, so Mr. Barrister Oluwaji says that there's no basis for suspicion, there's no basis for fear, because these things have been happening in Lagos, in the banking sector, where people who are not even Muslims have subscribed to the idea of non-interest banking. And to the extent that it has happened in Lagos for such a long time, how do you respond to that? Because you raised the issue of suspicion, and now he has responded.
Yeah, but I just thought that before we started, you are pushing timing.
Yeah, please go ahead. Please go ahead.
It's important that
please go ahead.
is given adequate time. Because you don't have all the time in the world.
Just go ahead. Don't worry.
Don't actually have all the time to speak. It tends to distort.
No, we have all the time. Doctor, speak all the time. You get more time.
You see, there are ambivalent description of this. You've spoken about arbitration. Nobody has any issue with arbitration. There are all sorts of arbitration. What is being done in the Southwest? Is it a regular arbitration, like I will have in a business? Of course, every business transaction in Nigeria will put there that if there are differences in this matter, there will be an arbitration. Is that what you're asking for? Is it arbitration for marriage? Is it arbitration for property sharing, inheritance sharing? Is that what?
That's Islamic personal law.
Is that no?
That is what you are taking. That's what they are talking about. Islamic personal law.
Is it arbitration? Is it the regular arbitration? You are talking about the law now. Because what people are worried about, and you're saying that there is no need to fear. And I told you, I lived in Kaduna. The same narrative we are seeing today is what happened there. Before when it comes to implementation and all that, we are seeing a different ballgame. So what you are seeing here, that nobody is afraid, nobody is complaining. But just before I came here, I was reading newspaper today. The Catholic Bishop Association in the Southwest are afraid. They are talking about tension. They are talking about fear. They are talking about disruption. No, you think this is what you see. But the people who this will come back to
have a reaction.
She's not coming back to anybody.
I'm coming, sir. I'm coming, sir. We are saying that we had a status quo, we had a society that was running well, and suddenly there is an attempt to introduce law that not even you have been able to explain well what it's all about. And that it's being showed down people's throat to say, oh, in Lagos it's operating. We need to know what exactly is happening in Lagos. Because this is the first time somebody is coming out to say, oh, we have it in Lagos. What is being implemented in Lagos vis-a-vis what Oluyede said, vis-a-vis what you are saying now, and what people are seeing. So people have a right to be afraid because this is more or less like what we call the Trojan horse. What you are told is coming is not what you will get at the end of the day. The Trojan horse comes in, it comes in with something else. But before you know it, the Trojan horse is in. So now, like he said, this is my belief. I am a pragmatic strategist. I look at issues and I try to analyze and predict what people believe. The Christians believe this, that this is an agenda that is being pushed. And so these courts or these councils, it's like the Trojan horse that will bring in the ultimate purpose of what people want to do. And the ultimate purpose is to introduce Sharia as a full legal system in the Southwest. And that is where we are going. You can mark it. You can mark it. I might be alive, you might be alive, but ultimately, these are the very early signs that are indicative of what is intended to happen. This is permitted, tomorrow is permitted, and we still have the argument. It's my religion. I should be allowed to practice my religion. This is what the law of my religion says. Nobody can stop me. And then we have a situation where my fear is this. I don't have any problem with any legal system being implemented, but I asked the question before. When you talk about legalese, the next thing you want to ask yourself is it expedient? Will it help us? Because again, if I take what has happened in a state like Kaduna, today, Kaduna is effectively partitioned. It's Christian and Muslim. There are areas that are Christian zones, there are areas that are Muslim zones. I lived in Kaduna for a long time, where I had my offices, where I lived there, but I can't live there anymore. I can't even go there anymore because those are classified as Muslim zone, these are classified as Christian zone.
Which was not existed before.
It existed for a wonderful secret that we love. But when the Sharia thing was dropped on the table, we were told all the good things. But when the implementation started and there were crises, today the economy, I was surprised when I looked at Kaduna Internal Revenue, one of the lowest. The reason is because of that crisis. People have lost confidence in the system, people have left the city, and all sorts have happened. And like I said, people don't trust each other. You look at the man, is he a Christian or a Muslim? You're dealing with him, the first thing you want to look at is his religion. You cannot afford, that has happened in the north. Can we afford to replicate that in the Southwest? The greatest problem facing the Southwest right now is the attempt of ISWAP, and it's real. The attempt of ISWAP to strike and create confusion there. Chasing rats and cockroach when the big elephant in the room is staring all of us at the face. This is diversionary. And I think that we should, if you really say that this ordinary arbitration panel, not a court, then no problem. Anybody can do arbitration, like you said, the Catholic does. Catholic arbitration is not a court system. It's, if there are issues among each other, it is resolved under the arbitration, but it does not have the power of the law, like the judiciary, like it's being asked. When you do start by having a legal system, it leads to other things. It becomes a way you go. So this is what I'm saying. I don't have a lot of Muslim friends, but the outcome of this particular law, or this particular push, would be something that everybody will need to regret.
Nobody will regret anything. Okay, all right. I mean, and I will say Dr. Okoye to be persuaded that, of course, you get the time to say everything that you need to say.
It's important.
Yeah, and the reason is because the reason why we have to listen to Mr. Oluyede is that, so it turns out that we have 3 people, and from the introduction, it was clear that it was 2 against 1. So it's important for me to let him, because if you look at the balance of time, if I'm not careful, it will be ruled against him.
And I'm better informed about what's happening than you.
So I need to explain. So that is why I get to talk about perspective. I'm better informed.
And if you ask me, I'm as more confused than.
Okay, we cannot. Anyway, let's have a last word, Mr. Ojo, because of our time. Yeah. Dr. Joe, any last word just in 1 minute?
You see, my concern now is that my brother was talking about the functionality of arbitration, Sharia, and how they amend them faces in marriages and all disputes and all, and that's lofty. But my brother cannot say that there's no mistrust. There is mistrust. People remember stuff. I had a stint in Sharia. My older brothers lived in the north. We heard stories. We heard stories of pogrom because of the issue of religion. Nigeria joined OIC behind closed doors. We remember all of those things. We remember the confusion that religion and all the stuff has caused in Nigeria. So there is the issue of trust. Just like I said earlier, the charter of the Supreme Sharia Council in Nigeria or in Oyo State called it an independent Sharia court. They know what they were talking about. So when you float that idea court, it's a red flag. But what I want us to just be very, very mindful, because we are all Nigerians and we want peace. We want peaceful coexistence among our people. But I just want us to be very, very careful. We must be very careful about the volatility that the issue of religion is capable of causing among us. We must be mindful. We must be mindful not just about what we push, but how we push all our religious demands. We must be very sensitive to how other Nigerians feel about stuff. We can't say, oh, there's no mistrust. There is mistrust. There is no trust at all. Then we must be watchful.
Thank you so much, Dr. Joe. Our time is already fast spent. Thank you so much for the contribution. We have to continue another day. Yes. I think, in my view, we just need to talk more about this. There has to be much more communication about it so that we can understand each other better. Thank you so much, Mr. Adam Olori Aje.
Yes, sir.
For coming.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Dr. David Okoro.
Yes, sir.
Thank you for coming and thank you for your views, both of you. And thank you, Dr. Folaujo, all the way from US.
Thank you very much, sir.
Sources.